What's up, Miniatures Paintbrush Legion, and welcome to Painting Tutorials. Welcome back, TMP fans, and I need to say, may your every day become a little brighter than the day before. And welcome to another episode of Painting Tutorials, where this time I'm going to teach how to batch paint, the one thing I despised until now. See, I'm going to attend the Nova Open coming soon, and I needed to prepare something. Well, about 120 Crypt Ghouls for my Flesh Eater Quartz army. Yeah, no problem. I had a week off because I have summer off and I'm a teacher. I am excited to get back into the classroom, which is happening next week. But here I am, looking to complete the project and do 120 Crypt Ghouls as quickly, as efficiently, and something I could be proud of. So this tutorial is a little bit different. It's not as detailed as all my other ones, but it is going to get you to paint through a whole bunch of minis in a short amount of time. So let's go down to Tabletown and let's see what I'm getting on about. 120 Crypt Ghouls. That's right, I had this box over here. Some friend gave me some Crypt Ghouls that they no longer needed or wanted. So I very appreciated that. And I bought some Crypt Ghouls upon Crypt Ghouls. And of course, you snap them off. That's what I pre-do. I snap all the torsos and bodies on, I glue them on, and then I cut all the hands separately and I put them onto painter sticks. And then I'm going to use camouflage, and that's Rust-Oleum Camouflage Green. I think that's a great base for me to start with, especially since I am going to just batch paint. I also added some of these skulls from Games Workshop that I wanted to make it unique for each one. Each one is a special little flower in my opinion. So I used the skulls and a couple of applications for here, but especially for the leaders, I kind of just got some of that skull goodness going on there. Quite a big project for the Nova Open. First time I'm ever actually going to play in the tournament. Okay, time for some light earth. We're going to put that from AK Interactive. This gets reactive when you put in a little bit of water in there, and you can spread it on easily, and it goes on sort of like, if you're icing a cake. That's about as similar as I can get to it. Some of it might get on the edges, but all you have to do is run your finger across it, and it'll get some of that off the edges, so this way you could just stay exactly where you want to. Now these I just put directly on. Those are the ones that I got as a gift that was pre-assembled. For the ones that I am sub-assembling, I get to do a thematic base, and thematic base is a bit of a cemetery that I've gone over with all my other models for this army. So it's like partially ground, partially cemetery, and I use the flagstone bases after I use some of the green stuff. You see how I put that on there. And what I'm doing is rolling these out directly onto the bases, and then what it leaves is great little pattern there where I can fill in the edges that were not contacted by the green stuff with some of that AK Interactive dirt. Now, another thing that I need to do, especially since I'm taking this for transport, is that I am including magnets on the underside of each and every one of these bases because I am going to transport them. Also, putting them on these wonderful A-case holders, which are awesome, by the way. I could not have done it without the AK holders. I'm going to start off with Rhinox hide for this painting tutorial. I'm just speed painting away. And then some more Rhinox hide over here for the base. I didn't include AK Interactive basing material on this one. I later went back and added the AK Interactive. I'm going to try this to my panel line filler, and it does a pretty good job of just filling in those segues for the bricks. It does a good job. You do have to remember it does take a while to dry, so keep that in mind. And this is a speed batch painting job that I'm doing. I completed 100 in 5 days. That's right, 5 days. I did 120 of these bad boys. So there you are. I'm going to put these into painting, a little poster tag on a large painting stir stick. And once they're painted, going to go into that Style Res Brown just to add a little bit of detail onto the last paint job that I did for the ground here. I want to add a little bit of a variation there. So I'm just getting some of that highlights in here, a little bit of overbrushing, which is like a wet dry brush. I know that sounds weird. It's just when you can't call it a dry brush because there's too much paint on there, but it's definitely not a saturated brush at all. So it's like somewhere in the middle there. And it is called a the loaded brush there. Now this time I'm going to add and get all the areas that the AK Interactive componentry, the dirt that I add, the dry earth, and I'm just going to make sure that I get it all, so this way it's all uniform. Next, we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade. I'm just going to get in there and really just pour this all over the base just to unify the light and the dark areas, just to pull it all back together again so it just doesn't look like slobs of paint. All right, with that done, some AK Interactive matte varnish is the way. And now some time from some Drakenhof Nightshade. And go to get some of the areas in there. This time I'm going to hit it with my airbrush really quickly. And I'm not going to every brick as I used to do. I'm just putting some highlights here and there. Well, actually some shadows here and there. And I love painting with Citadel shades. You know, you just have to be careful not to knock them over. But I just wanted to add some variance into there, and I wanted a really quick job. Just not like the other one that I did, not like the centerpieces. I was just going to town on these, and it was pretty easy to do. To get it all ready and situated for the base. And I did do those two, and this is the subassembly. This is the smallest subassembly I think I've done, and the largest at the same time. What I mean is that I did the entire body and I built it, and then I just painted separately, and then all the bases. Those are two sub-assembled. That's it. That's all I did, 1 and 2. And I could just add that now. And I'm using the Citadel holder and Athonian Camo Shade right now. And Athonian Camo Shade is just going to go all over the mini. Like, I'm going to saturate this sucker right here and really get it nice and dark. I want to get it grimy and dark. I want to get all the shadows in there. And these shades really work well when you have a lot of crevices. And you can see in the background there, I add a lot of these things. Here is where I batch painted a lot of these minis. Trying to get that done on the assembly line. You can see all of them in the background, just waiting to get painted, and some of them are painted right there. Really getting every crook and cranny of this, of each one of these miniatures, and allowing it time to dry is essential. So you want to allow that time. You can see it already looks great, very easily done. Mangform Morn Fang Brown now I'm using for all the bandage wraps or the leather wraps. It's easier to paint than white or bone white in my opinion. So that's why I went with that leather kind of wrapping going around there, because it looks good enough and it's a lot quicker to paint. So, and since I had so many pieces that get this kind of detailed attention to it, I want to fly by these and kind of speed paint my way through all of them. I always try to pick the easiest colors to paint with, to paint on, that has the opacity that I need, so I can once and done steps. When you're doing light and white, you have to do several steps in order to get it to where it's not showing through underneath, because they are very transparent, especially when you dilute white and going over a dark surface. So I just made my life a little bit easier by doing that. Okay, some Style Res gray primer right now. I'm going to do this rock right here. Now, I did a lot of them like this with the Steinres Gray as a rock, and then I did it as a shard of bone as well in some of the other miniatures that I did. Again, trying to add a little bit of variation to all these Crypt Ghouls. It was tough to make each one pretty much unique, but there are a lot of different hand and arm combinations that you can really add a variety of different kind of Crypt Ghouls. And 120, especially if you're going for something of more gaunt list, is kind of the way to go. I mean, that's where it starts, right? And 120 of these miniatures is a good start to a Flesh Eater Quartz army. Okay, time for that Ushanti bone. I'm just going through it right here, getting all the bone areas and bits, just taking my time and enjoying the process. You're going to notice that I went pretty thick on this. It's not super diluted. And that's because when it comes to Flesh Eater Quartz, they can be like nasty and, and they would look great. It doesn't matter if it's like pristine or perfect. I usually paint very clean when it comes to my models, like if they came off the assembly line or they just came out of the shower and they're gleaming and perfect, but not Flesh Eater Quartz. These are ghouls. They're nasty. So kind of like the water quality that was outside of my room today, and the fountain, which needs to get fixed. Yeah, pretty nasty over here. But the good thing is that they paint up, and it's a pleasure to paint because there's not really a lot to them. These are on 25 millimeter bases, so they are tiny, and they're packed with a lot of details. You don't have to do a whole lot to this to make it shine. Evil Sun Scarlet is next. I'm going to hit them. Spikes that they have right in the middle there. I like that green and red. Going for those contrasting colors in order to, kind of make it pop. I do want to make my miniatures pop on the table. I don't want it to be all too drab and dreary. So having that color is amazing, but I do have to tone it down a little bit because Evil Sun Scarlet is like an 11 and I need to tone it back down to a 10 to bring that back down to a level that seems, really eye-catching, but at the same time does not look fake and looks like, it is to scale to the model. So getting that red is super important. And whatever color you're actually painting it, I highly recommend that you paint and then you add a wash to it, and just kind of unify the piece like that if you're painting Flesh Eater Quartz, because it does paint well when you have some grime on it, and it looks great with some grime. I can imagine playing Nurgle or doing some of my, Magakin army, that it would be the same kind of concept where it leans a lot more heavily into like boils and pus and gross things like that, intestines coming out, like, ugh, right? But that's that army. That's the way it is. So there's a lot more detail to that, but I can imagine that if things get a little bit of dirty and grimy, that it is perfectly fine because that's what they're all about, infectious diseases. But enough about Nurgle. I don't want to talk about so much about Nurgle because then I'll get tempted to actually create another army. And I am going to finish my Tau. I only have one more of those Christmas box left and that last Kill Team box to go, which has both Space Wolves and Tau. So I am going to do some Space Wolves there. And I think I'll do Hounds of Mordecai with that Kill Team set. I think that's what I'm going to go for with that. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Once I'm done with that box, and I have one more holiday box that I need to get done, and then I will be done with my Tau. I can wash my hands clean of the Tau because I have so many Tau that I no longer need to collect Tau. I mean, that's that. And I am super excited for that moment. I think I'm going to throw a party. I think I'll do a 124 scale model car in celebration when I do that. Alrighty. All right. See, it's starting to look really great right now. All the pieces are really just coming together here. I just have to make sure that I also get the teeth area or the thesis area. Now over here, you can be really, really careful, or you can be really, really sloppy and throw a wash in there and it'll work just fine either way. So there it is. There's the teeth. And I'm going to add a little bit of wash in there as well. But this time I'll do Seraphon Sepia. I think that would be great for the bone. All right, now just going to do the eyeballs here. And there is something that is always tricky, right? I'm using a Citadel brush. I don't know why I'm not using my Raphael or my Series 7 to do this, but you know, it was just the heat of the moment and the brush that I had at the moment. I do switch brushes throughout the painting process. I have 5 brushes that I switch through when I paint the miniature, and I'm going back and forth for one or the other because each one has a very great purpose. One is great for washes, another one is great for base coating, another one is great for highlighting, another one is great for edge highlighting, you know, and I did have separate brushes for separate jobs throughout painting this miniature. Now I am using a little bit of that Carroburg Crimson just to tie that in there. I'm going to put a little bit on my hands, a little bit on the cheeks, so it looks like there's a little bit of blood going on through there because these ghouls are, you know, man-eating grossness. Beautiful man-eating grossness is what they are, and I love them very, very much. I think they're absolutely amazing. Yep, Carroburg Crimson is where we're at. We are almost done, actually, with the model. So getting in there, going on the red parts and washing those, super important to do to really just tie in the grime. You don't want to have everything dirty and then the spikes be super clean. Now, it is up to you, and it's up to your aesthetics. And whatever color you're painting them, there is a shade for you that you can use just to mitigate and to tie everything together. And I use a lot of washes here. That was the secret of batch painting and speed painting, all of this, just using those washes, going in there. I'm using black now for the rim, using those A-case mini holders right now. And this one right here, since I was doing the base, I want it to be elevated. So I use a bit of poster tack over there to elevate the miniature. So this way I don't paint the base or the holder that I have there, because I want to keep that, you know, relatively new there. So it's great. It is always great to place a black rim on a base, because then, you know, you're done. And I couldn't have done this without using the A-case bases, A-case holders. These things are absolutely amazing, and I can't stop raving about them enough, because I would not have been able to paint 120 of these bad boys if it weren't for the opportunity that I had to use these things. And I just want to thank Olo, who sent me these things in my time of need when I was going through depression. He did send me these things. So I don't know if you can call it a sponsor, but he didn't have any expectations for me. But I do have to express my gratitude and how amazing it was to be able to just switch from one miniature to another and really start batch painting away. It was so easy, especially if you magnetize the bottoms, to be able to do that and just go from one to the other, to the other, to the other. And that helped my flow go really, really well. So again, very grateful for Olo, who hooked me up with these holders, and I highly recommend. I'll put a link in the description, so if you would like to get these holders yourself and would like to work on them, you have more than welcome to be able to get that. And they have great cases too. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave you right now, and it's on to the pictures. So there you have it, TMP fans. And I did work on a skill today. I worked on my speed painting skill and working that speed painting muscle. So when it comes to your painting, make sure you paint every model to improve at least one skill. And may your backlog get ever smaller.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.